Today we're going to be test fitting this skid plate from Primitive Racing. I previously had a skid plate from TBW and I decided that I needed something more sturdy for the bottom of the car. This skid plate is made from 3/16" thick aluminum. It has stainless steel standoffs in the front and the rear are welded aluminum standoffs. If you guys are planning on slamming your car, I don't recommend the Killer Bee headers because they hang considerably lower than the stock ones. As you can see, the OEM skid plate actually does not cover this back part where the runners are hanging down, so that's why they're ground flat. The next lowest thing after the headers would definitely be the turbo oil pan. I was unable to run the dump tubes on the wastegates for any longer than a week. After about a week of having those dump tubes on, they were completely smashed up and they were getting stuck on everything, so I just run the wastegates wide open with no dump tubes. It's got some nifty little air vents for the underside of the engine. Killer Bee actually includes spacers with their headers so that you can mount the OEM skid plate a little bit lower so that it clears these runners. But if you're still smashing it on the ground all the time, the skid plate's still going to come up and hit the headers. Plus this bottom part of the headers is not protected by anything. That's why it's worn so flat. So my goal is to run this new skid plate and not have to use spacers. They do also make an option for an oil change door, but it costs a little bit more money, and I plan on taking this skid plate off to inspect it, so I don't mind taking it off in order to change the oil. Thanks to the headers being smashed from previous sessions, it looks like I'm going to be able to run this without spacers. The other thing I'm going to want to do is cut holes for these wastegates. Now we have little marks made for the holes that we want to drill, so I think we're going to go ahead and drill some 2-inch holes for these wastegates. This is the 2-inch hole cutter we'll be using to make the holes. Alrighty, so we got our 2 wastegate holes drilled out for the skid plate. Take a look at the other side here. Driver's side looks like it lines up pretty good. And passenger side also looks like it lines up. Everything about the skid plate fits beautifully. I really like how these front holes are recessed so that the bolt head isn't exposed at all, so there's no risk of scraping it. The only thing I don't like is that these rears are not the same way. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a way to maybe weld in a spacer or something at the top of this, so then I can have that bolt head be recessed all the way into the skid plate, so there's no risk of it being scraped off, because I know that sooner or later that bolt head is going to scrape through and then the skid plate is going to end up falling off because of that.